these have jointed appendages. And prawns, when you see the prawns, you can see that they are covered by a shell-like structure, right, which is an exoskeleton which is made up of chitin. They actually help these organisms to balance during flight or balance whenever they are sitting on a fragile surface. For all that, it is very, very important. Be careful with the question. Dash is not the characteristic of arthropods. Which is not the characteristic? Now, radial symmetry is not the characteristic because arthropods exhibit bilateral symmetry. So, the right answer here is A. Hello everyone, a warm welcome to this session on First PUC Biology. I am Dr. Divya, Biology Faculty, Vidhyaashram Pre-University College, Temple of Excellence, Mysore. So, in this session, let us learn about phylum Arthropoda under the chapter Animal Kingdom. So, we will learn the characteristics of Arthropoda and then move into understanding some of the MCQs that can be framed under this particular topic. So, talking about phylum Arthropoda. So, they are the largest phylum because all the insects come under phylum Arthropoda, and we know that insects are distributed throughout, right? So, there are a wide variety of insects, millions of insects that are there. So, therefore, it is the largest phylum. And they have organ system level of organization wherein a group of organs come together to perform a particular function. And their cell arrangement is triploblastic wherein the cells are arranged in 3 embryonic layers, that is an outer ectoderm and inner endoderm, and between the ectoderm and the endoderm there is a layer of cells in the middle which is called as the mesoderm. Talking about their body cavity, they have a body cavity and hence they are coelomates, wherein coelom meaning body cavity. Talking about the structure, they are bilaterally symmetrical, meaning when I draw a line exactly at the center of the insect, one half. So, if you can see, this half looks exactly similar to this half, or the right side is the mirror image of the left side of the insect. So, therefore, they are bilaterally symmetrical. And arthropods, they are given the name. Insects are placed under arthropod, and the name arthropod is given because arthro means jointed and poda means appendages of feet. So, they have jointed appendages. So, that is why they are called as arthropods. And talking about the segments, they are segmented. Now, here don't get confused. They are segmented, but they are not metamerically segmented, right? Metamerical segmentation is found in annelids. That is in the case of earthworms, leech and all that, wherein in the segments, up till a few segments, the organs get distributed. They get repeated in a serial manner. But in this case, the organs do not get repeated. Only thing is that if you carefully observe the body of insects, you can find segmentations or cross walls in their body. Next, body of arthropod is covered by a chitinous exoskeleton. So, that is why these organisms have been placed under arthropoda wherein all the insects are there. Now, prawn also comes under arthropoda, but we don't consider prawn an insect, right? But still, prawn is placed under arthropoda because of two main reasons. One is prawns also have jointed appendages which other fishes do not have, right? So, these have jointed appendages, and prawns, when you see the prawns, you can see that they are covered by a shell-like structure, right? Which is their exoskeleton, which is made up of chitin. And insects also, say for example, you see a cockroach. On the top of the cockroach, you can find a covering which breaks like a chip or a chips, potato chips, how it breaks, just like that it breaks. So, that covering that is there, which is not too bony also, not too fragile. And that is nothing but the outer covering of the cockroach, which forms the exoskeleton, or the arthropods, which forms the exoskeleton. And what is it made up of? It is made up of chitin, a compound called as chitin. Therefore, they have a chitinous exoskeleton. Next, the body of insects. It is divided into head, thorax and abdomen. So, this is the head part, head, thorax, and the abdomen region. So, the body is distinguished as head, thorax and abdomen region. and they have jointed appendages. As I told you, can you see here? This is one appendage which is jointed at this point, and this is one more appendage. Here also there is a joint. So they have jointed appendages. You can see here a joint here, then one more joint here. So they have jointed appendages. So here also there is a joint, if you can see. So that is why they are called as arthropoda. So next, talking about the respiratory organs, the circulatory organs and all that. I told you they have organ system level of organization. So respiratory organs can be gills, book gills. For example, prawns. Prawns have gills, and they can be books, lungs, or they can have a tracheal system for breathing, like wherein the trachea acts like a windpipe and therefore carrying in the air into the lungs. So they have a circulatory system which is of open type. So open type circulatory system means the heart doesn't have arteries, veins or capillaries to carry the blood to specific organs. Instead, what happens? The blood comes out of the heart just like that directly, and all the organs get bathed in it. Or the blood washes all the organs, or it's nothing like a pipe system is not there for the carrying of blood from the heart to the different organs. So that is nothing but open type circulatory system. And these animals have sensory organs. Nowhere so far we had studied in other phylums under kingdom Animalia wherein they exhibited, that is wherein they had these sensory organs. It is these organisms that have sensory organs like antenna. So this is the antenna. Antenna is nothing but, if you have seen the ants, the butterfly and all that, they have antenna, right? Antenna leads them to a food, or whenever they come across something fallen on the ground, or they come across nectar or butterflies to check whether in the flower nectar is there, they just sit on the petals of the flower and insert their antenna right down towards the nectar region so that they can feel whether nectar is there. And once they get to know that nectar is there, they just put their snout and then draw the nectar out of it. So for that it is very, very important. That is antenna. It acts like a sensory organ to get signals. And next, eyes, wherein they have the compound and the simple eyes. So compound eyes, the eyes, they have multiple lenses in their eyes. The best example is bees. They have multiple eyes. So that is why they are capable of seeing very, very far distances, or they can have simple eyes like how we have. And they have some balancing organs. These balancing organs are called as statocysts. So these statocysts, or the balancing organs which are there, they actually help these organisms to balance during flight, or balance whenever they are sitting on a fragile surface. For all that, it is very, very important. And this is one of the important characteristic, because the having antenna and having statocysts is two important characteristics of these arthropods. Next, excretion. It is through Malpighian tubules. So it is an excretory unit which is nothing but called as Malpighian tubules. So excretion takes place through Malpighian tubules. Next, talking about the reproduction. They are dioecious, meaning the male insect is separate and the female insect is separate. So therefore, the sexes are separate, or it is dioecious. And fertilization is usually internal, wherein the sperm fuses with the egg, and then after the fertilization process, then only the insect lays the egg. But otherwise, only thing is, don't think that okay, they're laying their egg outside, then how can fertilization be inside? It is nothing but the sperm will enter into the female insect, it will fertilize the egg, and then that fertilized egg will be laid by the female insect. So that is why fertilization is usually internal in this case. And they are oviparous, that is, they lay eggs. So they are egg laying animals, they lay eggs. And the development may be direct or indirect. So development may be direct means they don't have an in-between stage, that is a larval stage or something like that. Or it can be indirect means wherein they have a larval stage. The best example is silkworm, butterfly, they all have a larval stage, but these do not have a larval stage. So development may be direct or indirect. Next, some of the examples under this particular phylum, that is Arthropoda. There are some economically important insects which are very useful for the farmers, like which the farmers can rear and they can make money out of it. So it is apis, which is commonly called as the honeybee. So we have apis, the honeybee. Then we have bombyx, that is silkworm. So what silk is got from silkworm, and silk is one of the costliest material that is there, which is marketed outside because nowhere else silk is produced. So that is why. So silkworm. Then we have lacifer, that is the lac insect. So the lac insect, that is lacifer. And then there is some vectors. So vectors means these are the insects which carry diseases. The best example is all the mosquitoes, that is the Anopheles mosquitoes, the Culex and the Aedes mosquitoes. They are all vectors. Why? Because they carry the parasites, that is the filarial worm and Wuchereria, all that they carry in their body, and they deliver it into the human beings, causing diseases like malaria, dengue, chikungunya and all that. So that is why, because they act like vehicles wherein these parasites will enter into the body of the mosquito, and the mosquito, when it goes and bites a person, in order to draw in blood, it will inject the parasite into the bloodstream of that particular person, and that particular person will develop diseases. So that is why they are called as vector, because they're acting like vehicles wherein they are carrying the parasite from one place to another place. Next is pest. Some are pests. So pest, locusta. So locusts are one of the gregarious pests that are there. Why? Because they come in huge swarms and they can completely destroy the entire crop field at a stretch. So that is what the locusts do. So this is the locusts. Next, we have the living fossil, that is Limulus, which is called as the king crab. So this is Limulus. So Limulus, it is called as the living fossil. Living fossil means it was there earlier itself, like how dinosaurs are also fossils now. But we don't call them as living fossils because today in this present world, they are not there. Only their dead remaining parts are there. So they are the dead fossils. But these are living fossils because till today also they are there, and we can study these organisms to understand other organisms which were there in the earlier times, which are not there today. So that is why we call it as the living fossils. So king crab or Limulus is a living fossil which is of great importance for the evolutionary studies and all that. So now we'll look into some of the MCQs that can be framed under this particular topic. So dash is the largest phylum in animal kingdom. It is Arthropoda, because Arthropoda is nothing but insects. So is it mollusca? Ascal means annelids. No molluscas. We have the oysters, the octopus and all that. Ascal means the roundworms, and annelids, it is the leeches, and those which have segments, that is metameric segments. So here the right answer is Arthropoda. Next, organisms having jointed appendages are placed under echinodermata. No, echinodermata, organisms having spines on their body are placed under echinodermata. Is it mollusca? No. Organisms having a visceral hump, they are placed under mollusca. Is it annelida? No. Organisms exhibiting metamerism is placed under annelida. So therefore the right answer here is Arthropoda, wherein arthro means joint and poda means the feet. So jointed appendages. Arthropods have dash level of organization. Is it cellular, tissue, organ or organ system? So they have organ system level of organization. So next, the exoskeleton of arthropod is made of. Is it cellulose? Is it chitin? Is it pectin? Or is it calcium carbonate? So not cellulose, because cellulose plants usually have cellulose. Is it pectin? No. Pectin is also usually found in some of the fruits. Chitin, yes, chitin is the right answer here because I told you their exoskeleton is chitinous. It is made up of chitin. And is it calcium carbonate? No, it's not calcium carbonate because calcium carbonate are found in mollusks usually. So that is why the right answer here is chitin. Next, dash is not the characteristic of arthropods. Is it radial symmetry? Arthropods exhibits bilateral symmetry. Bilateral symmetry. Open type circulatory system, yes, they have open type circulatory system. Book gills for respiration, they have book gills for respiration. Malphizian tubules for excretion, yes, they have malphizian tubules for excretion. So what was the question here? Be careful with the question. Dash is not the characteristic of arthropods. Which is not the characteristic? Now, radial symmetry is not the characteristic because arthropods exhibit bilateral symmetry. So the right answer here is A. Next, dash is a vector. Vector is the one that carries an infection from one place to another, right? So here dash is a vector. Is it Anopheles, Culex, Aedes, all of the above? So Anopheles is a mosquito, Culex is also a mosquito, Aedes is also a mosquito. So all the three are vectors. So therefore, and option D, that is all the above, is the right option here. Apis is commonly called as silkworm, honeybee, lac insect, locust. So silkworm is called as Bombyx, Bombyx mori. So it is called Bombyx. Next, honeybee. Okay, honeybee is called as Apis. Lac insect, Lacifer, or locust. It is commonly the grasshopper, Locusta. It's called as Locusta. So therefore here the right answer here is honeybee, because honeybee, Apis is commonly called as honeybee. Option B is the right answer. So questions can be framed. Bombyx is commonly called as, or silkworm is also called as, or lac insect is also called as. So that is how questions can be framed. Next, dash is a gregarious pest. So pest means something which destroys a crop, right? Destroys something else. So here pest. Is it Lacifer? Is it Apis? Is it Bombyx, or it is Locusta? Lacifer is an economically important insect which is also called as lac insect. Apis is nothing but honeybee, which is economically important. Bombyx is also, it is silkworm, which is also again economic important. It doesn't cause harm to the people or to the crops. So here therefore a pest is Locusta, that is locust, which actually destroys the crop field in a very short period of time. So therefore that is why they are called as a gregarious pest. Option D is the right answer here. Next, dash is an example for living fossil. Is it Apis? No. Bombyx? No. Limulus? Yes, because limulus, or they can ask the option here as king crab also. Both are one and the same. Anopheles? No, because Apis and Bombyx are economically important. Anopheles is a vector. A living fossil is the king crab. So option C is the right answer under this. Next, the balancing organs in arthropods are called. What are they called? Are they called flame cells? No, flame cells are something related to excretion and osmoregulation. So flame cells are usually found in platyhelminths. That is the flatworms. So flame cells, they are used for osmoregulation and excretion in the case of flatworms or platyhelminths. For example, the tapeworm, fasciola or liver fluke, etc. And parapodia, no. Parapodia because they are found in annelids. That is, the best example is Nereis, which is an aquatic annelid, right? So in that they have these foot-like structures, lateral foot that is there, or lateral appendages which help them to swim, which is called as parapodia. So therefore that is also not the right answer. Is it radula? No, radula we usually find in mollusks. So, and they help the organism to take in food. So, it's not the right answer here. That is oysters, in oysters, octopus and all that we find radula. So, statocyst is the balancing organ that is found in arthropods, which helps them to balance during flight. So, this was about the session wherein we learnt about the characteristics and got to know some of the MCQs under this particular topic. So, I hope you understood the session well. We shall meet again in the coming session with a new topic and discuss the MCQs under that particular topic. So, see you in the next session. Thank you.